Thank you for joining us on this special edition of KGW News. I'm Tim Gordon. Earlier today, Hamas militants attacked Israel by land, air, and sea after a barrage of rockets. Armed insurgents broke through a border fence and poured into a number of towns in southern Israel, shooting civilians and taking others hostage. Now many are wondering how Israel, which has some of the most advanced intelligence in the world, was caught so off guard. Bree Jackson has the latest.
Hamas militants launched thousands of rockets early Saturday morning in a stunningly brazen assault, taking Israel by surprise. In response, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered strikes in Gaza, declaring his nation is in a war. President Biden weighing in, pledging unwavering support to Israel and sending a warning to adversaries.
Let me say this as clearly as I can. This is not a moment for any party hostile to Israel to exploit these attacks to seek advantage. The world is watching.
The bloodshed comes at a crucial time. The U.S. was working on a peace deal with Israel and Saudi Arabia that had been gaining momentum. Hamas leaders say this attack was a message to any Muslim country working on peace with Israel. Experts question why Israel was caught so off guard.
The kind of activities that would have had to precede Hamas's making these attacks should not have gone unnoticed.
The unprecedented violence coming during the height of a major Jewish holiday. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
Well, the attack by Hamas stunned people around the world and here in Portland. The images from the attack are startling. Bob Hornstein from the Jewish Federation of Greater Portland knew about the attack, but the magnitude of what happened really shocked him.
I can't recall a time when terrorist infiltrators came into Israel in the numbers that we saw in the last 12 to 14 hours that were able to succeed by air, by sea, and by land. It's apparently an intelligence failure.
Hornstein says while he won't give up hope, it's hard to envision peace in that region after an attack like the one that occurred. Now, we're also getting reaction from Oregon and Washington's representatives in Congress. Oregon Senator Jeff Merkley said, "My heart is with the Israeli people and all those impacted by these acts of terrorism against innocent civilians." Oregon Senator Ron Wyden, "The terrorist attack on Israel is appalling. The United States stands with our ally in the face of today's heinous violence." And Washington Senator Marie Cantwell said, "We must ensure full U.S. support for Israel to defend itself and work to avoid further escalation and a wider war." And finally, Portland Congressman Earl Blumenauer wrote, "I am horrified by the terrorist attacks in Israel, our strongest ally in the region. I firmly stand with the thousands of Israelis in harm's way." Well, here in Portland, one man is dead and two others were hurt in an overnight shooting in Old Town. It happened about 12:45 this morning at Northwest 4th and Everett. Officers on patrol nearby heard the shots and they responded. One victim died at the scene. Two others were taken by car to the hospital. They're both expected to survive. So far, there's no one in custody and no description of any suspect or suspects to share with you. The death marks Portland's 55th homicide this year. We were at 73 at this point last year. A man who was suspected of killing three of his neighbors in Northeast Portland more than 3 years ago has been found guilty of murder. In July of 2020, police responded to a disturbance on Northeast 122nd Avenue in the Russell neighborhood. They found three people: Tashia Cobb, her fiance Elmer Hughes, and their friend Lawrence Murphy, shot to death. Brett Pruitt, who's now 61 years old, was arrested the next day. Prosecutors say Pruitt claimed ownership of the neighboring home, demanding rent payments, and went on a shooting rampage after days without sleep during a methamphetamine binge. Pruitt is set to be sentenced in January. A home on Lake Oswego's west side was destroyed in an overnight fire. It was reported just before 4 this morning on Trillium Court, that's near Westlake Drive. Fire officials say the home was not occupied at the time, but as you can see there, it really caused some major damage. Lake Oswego and Tualatin Valley firefighters were able to get it under control and prevent it from spreading to any neighboring homes. Well, in Northeast,
Well, we saw a gorgeous start to your weekend. These are the temperatures we saw this afternoon. I should say record-breaking temperatures. At PDX, a high of 85 degrees. Now, the old record was 83 degrees, set back in 2014. Hillsborough, 84 degrees. Over in McMinnville, temperatures in the low 80s. And it was very nice up and down the Oregon and Washington coast. Temperatures in the low 70s. A little bit cooler by nearly 20 degrees in a few locations today compared to yesterday. But still, for the early part of October, seeing nothing but sunshine across the coast, the valley, and the mountains, and really throughout much of the Pacific Northwest is absolutely fantastic to see. Heading into tomorrow, we'll still have that ridge of high pressure set up for another day of sunny and warm conditions. Are we be seeing record-breaking heat? Not tomorrow, but we are going to be seeing some really lovely conditions heading into the second half of the weekend. As we put Futurecast into motion, the places that we'll be seeing some low clouds will be along the Oregon coast. It's short-lived because by the afternoon, you'll be seeing those clouds lift. A lot of blue skies along the beaches. But heading into Monday, we see some changes with windy and some wet conditions. We'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
okay, thanks a lot, Joe. We'll see you soon. A Northeast Portland family is dealing with the toughest challenges life could throw at you. Despite the suffering, they're moving forward with a little bit of help. Thomas Schultz has the story.
It's been tough, but every day, one foot in front of the other.
A few months ago, DeAndrea Menifee heard the news no one wants to hear. She was diagnosed with breast cancer.
I'm really scared, but I'm trying to just keep it all together for my kids.
She hasn't been able to work since May. Her savings dried up and struggling to provide for 2 kids and pay the mortgage on her home.
This is our family house.
The only black-owned home on the block, and the house her mother bought when DeAndrea was in 2nd grade, though a few years ago, she passed away from cancer. This home, her mom's remaining legacy.
For us to still be able just to maintain and still be able to, keep the things that my mom worked so hard for.
Is most important.
Yeah.
In 2018, DeAndrea's dad died. Again, cancer. And about a year ago, her son's father, Nate Trigardis, who coached their son Jaden's basketball team,
hey, good job, Nimi,
was diagnosed with stage 4 penile cancer. He coached to keep kids off the street and in school.
I was born to help kids. I was born to use my life to touch other people's lives. And I just want to be able to continue to do that.
And he did just that, all the way until the end. Thursday, he passed away.
It's hard because you can't protect your kid from stuff like that. You know what I mean? The only thing you can kind of do is just be there for them.
Be there for them while she undergoes her own fight, one of many battling breast cancer. Almost a third of cancer diagnoses for women is for breast cancer. The median age, 62. But unfortunately for some, that diagnosis comes far sooner. DeAndrea,
she has a 5-year-old son,
is only 33, though she has help from Michelle's Love, a nonprofit that boosts up single parents battling cancer.
We're going to be able to pay her mortgage while she's doing her treatment.
And clean her home, provide meals too for DeAndrea and her kids Jaden and 5-year-old Kyrie, while she prepares for a close approaching surgery, less than 3 weeks away, so she can recover and move forward, one foot in front of the other. In Northeast Portland, Thomas Schultz, KGW News.
And we wish her and her family the best. Well, a longtime Woodlawn elementary school teacher is being honored and recognized for his impact on young people. Lionel Clegg was surprised at a school assembly with news that the Waddles Boys and Girls Club in Southeast Portland will be renamed in his honor. Clegg has been teaching at Woodlawn Elementary in Northeast Portland for 25 years. In 2021, he was also recognized as On Point Community Credit Union's Teacher of the Year. And you may recognize him from the KGW docuseries Inside Woodlawn. It chronicled life inside the elementary school and the struggles facing teachers like Clegg and his students. Clegg says this milestone holds a strong message for his students and future generations.
I didn't get into this for a lot of money or all these accolades, but it just shows keeping your head down, working hard, giving your best effort year in, year out does pay off.
That's for sure. Well, the club will also have a yearly scholarship in Clegg's name and will give him $1,000 towards school supplies for his students. Congratulations.